So I'm going to shut that door back there. Or you could leave it open, I guess. It don't matter. Call this meeting order. All stand, face the flag. Pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call. R.J. Devin.
Here.
Brett Luther.
Present.
Tim Yoakum, I'm here. Approval of minutes.
Make a motion that we approve minutes.
Second the motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of claims.
Make a motion we approve claims. I do have some questions on after at some point here, but I'd make a motion to approve claims.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approval of payroll.
Make a motion to approve payroll.
Second motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public comment. If you have a public comment, come up and please limit your time to 3 minutes. We're going to move on then. Open issues, Health Department. Glad to have the doctor here today.
Hello. First I'm going to give you the COVID update for November. As of November 28th, we had 42 cases, up from 22 the previous month. Right now, COVID and influenza A are kind of running neck and neck, and a lot of it out there, a lot of sick people, a lot of sick kids in the schools. One school had over 20%, day before they were getting ready to go on break for Thanksgiving. So just be careful who you sit by. We have 54.4 have had one dose of COVID vaccine, equals 8,429 residents. 48.9 have had 2 doses, 7,583, and only 23.4% have had booster doses. That's 3,627. So we are doing what we can as far as vaccine clinics. We're having them, a lot of them, the state is coming with us, and that allows us to offer free flu vaccines in addition to the COVID vaccine for anybody who wants one. And we'll be here, I believe, this weekend at the courthouse. So, and we're kind of excited about, we're going to be doing, after the first of the year, we're going to hook up with somebody called VaxCare, and that's going to allow us as a health department to immunize anybody, no matter what the insurance. So not just for, Medicaid children anymore that come by, or so Medicare, private, no insurance, Medicaid, we'll be able to serve the whole community as far as vaccines are concerned.
All vaccines or
all vaccines.
Wow.
That's
big.
excellent.
And next we have to bring back the tattoo ordinance, which was revamped, and took a lot of your suggestions, Luther. And one thing I did do, that you probably noticed, is I just completely took out the temporary facility. It was just too much of a complication, and didn't know if we were able to, adequately police that, and so I just took it out. And made some other changes. Were you okay with that change as far as the legal, judicial? Okay. Okay. So we have sent you the completed, hopefully last version of the ordinance, along with This is the inspection report that Kim will use when he goes to do the inspections. We have a copy of the application for the operator, which is several pages long. He also, Mike, who's here tonight, the final part of this is that getting authorization from zoning, building, and fire department, and so they'll have to sign off on it too. And then we have all the fees established, and he's got a copy of those. Things that he has to have posted, he's aware of that, and we've given him copies, and we've given him people to reach out to for did the bloodborne pathogens, and they're having somebody from their waste elimination, I think Stericycle, come right after the first of the year and give them training on an infectious waste disposal. And so they know what all is expected of them, and they're mostly got everything done, but we're hoping to have this approved so that we can get that permit active on January 1.
One of the parts in here was for patrons' information.
Mm-hmm. That has to be posted in the facility.
I mean, when people come in, if I'm a patron, then I have to give certain information or taking photographs and all this type of stuff. What's the purpose behind all that?
So this is what you as a patron have the right to expect when you come into this facility. That it will be clean, that they're washing with soap, that they're doing all of the protective things to protect against spreading disease. And that if you have an issue, if you see something that you don't like, you can call the number at the bottom of this page and report it.
This had more with the retention of records for 2 years by the operator.
No, this is just
Not on that part, but one of their requirements.
the retention of records for 2 years is what the state wants. It has to have all the information on it. Name, date, birth, where you were tattooed, and take a picture of it, and all that. Those records have to be retained for 2 years. And I would say probably because if you had maybe like a recall on the ink or something, the inks that he gets have to be specifically tattoo inks and come from a certain place. So they keep track of those, and I'm sure they have lot numbers, and so I would say for that reason.
Okay. Also, there's a part in there for minors. I assume the minors under 18, is it? Or I'm not sure what a minor definition is, but it says that both parents have to be present.
Take that out.
That's been changed.
One
Okay.
parent
Okay.
or guardian.
Or guardian, sure. I don't think I got the latest version of this. Okay, thank you.
We'll go ahead and pass this to Snyder. Second time today.
Appears to be a little different than what did you send the latest version, or when did we get that?
We sent it on Wednesday, and then he had noticed something that needed to be flipped regarding the legal judicial review, so we flipped that paragraph, so we resent it out
Oh, I know.
Thursday or Friday.
Was anything changed on the process of, I guess, violations or penalties? Was there anything changed on how that process works, or is it still the hearing officer is still the health director?
We changed it, John, to the hearing officer.
It's still the hearing, it remains the same then? It remains the same. The hearing officer, even though the hearing officer writes the violation, the hearing officer is also the one that has final judgment on it without going to court?
Well, that's what I thought, and then I thought you had said it seemed like a conflict of interest, so we changed it to John.
Oh, you changed it to the county attorney.
Mm-hmm.
I see. I misunderstood what you said.
Yeah, I thought you wanted it
Yes.
not to be.
Yes,
Is that correct?
Yes.
That's the way you wanted it?
I
Okay.
misunderstood what you were saying. Thank you.
John, do you have any objections to being the?
I doubt it's something that's gonna come up very frequently, so.
We hope not.
You all did a good job.
If there's no objections, I'll make a motion to approve county ordinance number 2022-15 by title, tattoo and body piercing ordinance.
I'll second the motion.
Get the right words out.
Okay, so the.
Discussion?
Sign this one, or-
One question on the permit's an annual permit, right? They do the
Right.
fee, they pay a fee every year to that effect.
Mhm.
And we are sure that the time for inspections or whatever will be covered in these fees for whatever they are.
Mhm.
Okay. That's the only discussion I
Any
have.
more discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Got anything else?
Nope, that's it for me.
Very good.
I'd like to move our insurance up if there's not someone else in place of that at this point.
Do you have any problem with that?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you again for coming.
Okay, do you have a good copy?
Next, we're gonna have George Smith, the county insurance. Except what?
It's already here.
Yeah, thanks, George.
George Smith, MJS Insurance, here to go over the renewals for the county's insurance. Yes, it's thick this year. I put separators in there. We have the package policy through Astra, which covers the property, liability, umbrella, vehicles, inland marine schedules, things like that. I also have the work comp in there through IPEP. And then I also have the proposal through for the cyber, which will be at the tail end of that. Would like to address first the Astra policy, which is the first one there. This year we did have some increases. Net operating expenditures for the county went up $248,000 and some change, so that automatically gives an increase on insurance just from a liability standpoint. Keeping up with inflation, plus the addition of the building across the street here, if I'm pointing in the right direction, the old bank building, the property values have increased by $2,354,691. That does not include the jail, which I'll address in a little bit. The reason those property values went up, if any of you have gone out and bought a 2x4 lately or a sheet of OSB, we weren't keeping up with the price. So straight across the board, any stick-built structure you have got an 11% increase on coverage. Okay?
So when the property tax and values, if they do go down, will that be readjusted?
That's right. If. Yes, because right now we're trying to keep up with the cost it takes to rebuild stuff. And, God forbid a tornado or a fire breaks out or something, you're gonna look at me to say, hey, we need that building replaced, and I need to make sure there's enough money to do that. So your property values did increase. Another big change this year is the inland marine values. Inland marine, for anybody that doesn't know what inland marine is, road graders, tractors, equipment like that, not portable tools, but just your equipment for the county. We worked really hard on this year to make sure we had a correct list, and I appreciate everybody's input. I think everybody had input on that. So the inland marine values this year increased $1,075,000.
The value.
The value, because we had equipment that wasn't on there, and I appreciate everybody's effort on that. I know you and I went through it, and I know you and I went through it, so I do appreciate that, because once again, something happens, you look at me to replace it. The other big change this year was the number of autos. That's not a huge change. Average cost for a vehicle for the county, which I've been getting a lot of phone calls from different departments wanting to know how much of their budget I'm going to take for vehicles. And average cost per vehicle for the county is $870. Now that's your average cost. You know, if you have a Ford XL two-wheel drive, or if you have a $180,000 triaxle truck, there's going to be some difference because of the value, but the average cost. So we're up 4 vehicles this year, which I'm guessing probably after the first of the year, as some vehicles start getting retired again, that number is going to drop back down. The one thing Astra does that I like, last year we added vehicles and things like that, you never saw a bill for it. Okay, they waived that premium. So we don't do that. The only extra bill you saw this year from Astra was a prorated amount, $430 for the purchase of the old bank building. That was the only additional bill. So when you add vehicles, they waive them. But then this year, you know, we're up for it. So
have you seen any trends that we should be alerted to in claims of anything, or?
It's really not a trend. We had, and I just don't know how much I can speak in public on this stuff, so bear with me.
Just
So I won't go into
general.
details. But we do have a huge liability claim that was auto-related that we paid out right at $140,000 just on an auto liability claim. That's all the detail I'm willing to go into, but you know, you guys hit me up after hours or during hours, and we'll talk about it.
I just wondered if there was anything you've seen as far as trending, you know?
You guys have actually ran pretty clean. You really have, and that excites me because, you know, it helps keep the rates down. But that was really the only one I've seen. I will see a trend, talk about a trend that I see a lot though right now in my municipalities are these tort claims. We're getting beat up by those, every municipality around. Whether law enforcement liability, whether it's, you know, just mainly law enforcement liability. I'm not seeing that trend with you right now. But once we get everything settled in after the first of the year, especially once the jail's done, I'm going to have, we need to have risk control come out and meet with the law enforcement department and go through some things that are careful, because unfortunately the retainer for you as the county on any type of liability like that's $2,500. I don't know the correct word to use, but the incarcerated have learned what these retainers are that counties have to pay. Example, I have another county whose retainer is $5,000. You don't want to know?
Really go into that part of it.
I don't need to?
No.
Okay. I just don't.
Appreciate it, though.
Okay, I don't, we want to pay attention to it on that. This year on the Astra policy, last year you were at 124,753. This year it's 167,646. That's a difference of 42,893.
25%.
But that's why I wanted to go through. We're up $1 million on the inland marine and $2 million on property is the main difference. The next divider is the work comp. That has probably already hit the office because it's through IPEP and they automatically send the renewals out. IPEP's where you need to be at on work comp, strictly payroll driven and claims driven. This year your claims were good. It's strictly payroll driven. The higher the payroll, you get an increase. Your payroll payroll went up a little bit, but the work comp last year was at 45,251. This year it's at 48,533. So just strictly due to the payroll. So.
What percentage does that run off of, roughly? What percentage is that?
Depends on the class code.
Okay, yeah, different classifications of operations.
That's right. Administrative is going to be less than mechanics.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the payroll for each one. Okay? Last but not least, I saved the best for last.
The worst to last.
let's talk about cyber. The cyber policies have changed. They are now rated off of all counties' income, all municipality income, including grants. You guys know the grants you had and things like that the past calendar year, whereas last year, our rated, for the cyber policy was rated off $15 million in revenue, a little over 15 million. This year, the cyber policy is rated off of over 74 million.
You mean minimum?
What's that?
The minimum policy of 74 million?
No, just the revenues, counting your grants, 74 million. Yes, RJ?
Yeah, that's my facial expression, going from 15 to 74.
Okay, because they changed that. It includes grants now, it includes tax revenues, it includes donations.
That's a huge difference. That's a
Huge difference.
I was hoping you misspoke and it wasn't 74.
So, with that being said, once again, I appreciate Brenda getting me the information I needed on this. I saved the best for last, Tim. Somebody else read this? Okay, so the cyber last year was at $52.85, $5,285. The cyber this year, $28,100, or an increase of $22,815.
100%.
Why do they base that on total revenue, which includes grants? Why is that, as opposed to what?
Just underwriting now.
That's a standard for all underwriters now?
Yes. I sent this out. We've spoken in the past about how many companies write with municipalities. I sent the cyber out to 3 various companies. The company I'm presenting was the best price I got. Same with the county insurance, other than the work comp. The work comp, you're with IPEP, and you know, that's the best game in town for you guys. But I sent the county's insurance out to 5 other companies also, and Astra came in at the best rate.
So we're at about $60,000 increase altogether?
When it's all said and done, $68,990.
You're seeing it across
that
the board everywhere.
negotiable?
Well,
No.
you know me, I'm the middleman. So, like I said, the Astra, I could almost justify the Astra. We had enough changes and things like that, and just keeping up with the inflation, 6 to 8% increase. I could justify that one, but when I discovered this year that the cyber underwriters have changed to where it includes all monies, I about choked.
Have they changed any on the coverage? I mean, any different on the coverage? Is still
No.
the same?
No, same coverages, and of course covers the piracy or the ransomware attacks, things like that, restoration of the systems, things like
Well,
that.
okay, that's kind of trended down somewhat, isn't it? As far as that type of claims?
From a claim standpoint, no. The companies are still very bitter, and it shows. They paid a lot of ransomware, you know, because once again, there's only so many companies that write it, and we all hear about a hospital and things like that that get hit. So, yeah.
Do they ever go and look at policies and things like that the counties have in place?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Did they do that for Vermillion?
Yes. What they do, I have an application I have to fill out that tells what policies, procedures you guys have, and I fill that information out. And they do offer, each one of my companies offer free-to-use training, risk management, work comp related, how to protect injuries, things like this, things that can be taught either virtually or now that COVID's lightening up, they can actually send somebody out here. And I recommend you always take advantage of any of that because it's just a good mark for the insurance companies. What's that?
I noticed we have some in here, 3017 West Grand Avenue for grandstands, restrooms, storage sheds. Where's that at? This shows up as Clinton as opposed to where I thought it might be. And it shows up as a bar.
301 Grand. That's
3017 Grand Avenue.
That's not Miller Park, is it?
Shows up as a,
Oh, if you want this list on it, couldn't you? Gosh.
it just caught my attention. If you don't know, that's fine. It doesn't really matter today.
We can call, y'all call and ask him later on that. We might see some other stuff there anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there.
Grand Avenue.
Eric says it's in Blandford. Is it one of the county parks by chance?
Their baseball field.
There's a
That's the
park
old
right
baseball
there on
field.
71 that looks to be about that address.
Yep.
Didn't show up on our property cards. But anyway. Thanks, Eric. It's better than where I got it at. Anyway. Thank you.
If, I guess at this point, I'd just ask if you would like me to renew it. I just need to get signatures at some point, and
Make a motion that we renew our insurance policies as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion? I want to appreciate what you've done. I think you did a good job for us.
I appreciate that. You guys have been a great help to me also, so I do appreciate that.
Besides that $22,000 increase on cyber, but other than that, I appreciate everything.
It's not a sore point, is it?
No.
When we have our contracts, we're now pushing our insurance policies on the contracts to a different degree also because
Absolutely.
because of these things too.
Yes.
Is that making any difference as to, or they don't really notice that?
A lot of things, yeah, anytime you're contractors, you want to be named typically additionally insured with a waiver of subrogation, just to keep you guys from, I'm walking by a work site and get hit in the head by a crane or something.
Is it making a difference on our policy though, or do they really?
It really
notice?
doesn't make a difference on the policy. From my perspective, it's a must-have. Whenever you have anybody working for the county that is a private contractor, you must have that.
Also, workman's comp should be required each time.
Oh, absolutely.
All the above, yeah.
Yes, work comp is huge because every year you'll go through an audit, and any subcontractor that you do not have a certificate of insurance goes on the county's payroll. So that would just increase that payroll. Yep.
Okay.
It's one of the things that we need to push on our other office holders to make sure when they're doing these type things that they have the contracts
Absolutely.
reviewed, if they would,
Absolutely.
if it's not a commissioner contract, or even if it is, for that matter.
Call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, George.
Thank you. Do you want me to hang out to the end, Tim, or just hand this up to Brenda for labor signatures?
You might as well just hang here so you can get out of here. Don't you see to be stuck here. We're going back up to where we was at on the agenda and start coming down on it.
And thank you for your help on that stuff too.
Thanks again.
Yep. Next is request for quotes, record handling, and retainment format and scanning. I think that's an ongoing.
It is. I've contacted there are two firms, Crawley Company and then the shoot, I don't have it in front of me right off. And anyway, a second company to come in for interviews. If we can set sometime, it could be after the first of the year or actually before, but if we can set a date, and I asked them for dates, and anyway, they didn't provide those dates, so we'll provide them for them to come in and make their presentations, and then we can make a decision, good, bad, or indifferent on that. Do we have a date in which we can set?
Do you,
Could
do you
be in
want,
January.
do you want to do like before commissioners meeting or just a random, or just a?
This'll be more of an executive session where we'll sit down and we'll
Okay.
it's an interview process, not a, not
And
a
how many of them,
job
2 of
meeting.
them?
We can do 2 of them in one day. I
Okay.
would suggest we do them both in the same day.
Okay. I'd say just pick a date, and if you can schedule it in the morning or afternoon, for me, it would be helpful, and then.
I'll send you guys some date, a date, and then you can say yea or nay.
Okay. That
We
works.
wanna get that done for the end of the year or next couple of weeks or what?
It's going to influence some of the things that we do on the annex and the courthouse as far as occupancy goes, so it needs to be timely here, I think.
Okay.
I'll send you guys some dates in December. If we can do it in December, we'll do it. If not, then it'll need to be done the first part of January, or should be.
All right.
Courthouse occupancy and space use status.
I'm still reviewing the document that Britton sent the other day on email. That was a lot of stuff and a lot of work you put into that, so couldn't really look at that on my phone. I had to get on my computer to look at that. I couldn't really look at all of it on my phone.
It's here, it's a tentative design, and Britton has said that we're probably gonna have to get some engineering done on that as far as to make sure that's all.
Either architectural or engineering to assure that we're doing it properly, and I checked with a couple of contractors. I'm not comfortable either of trying to do it as without a full-fledged contract and a proper assessment of the architectural issues that are there. So I'd like for us to either pick an architect or interview, if we want to go, no more than 3 if we want to interview anyway, but if you have a preference as far as an architectural or an engineering firm who is comfortable at doing these type things, they need to take our sketches basically, and I think we're kind of happy with the layout right now.
Yeah.
Regardless of who moves
Yeah.
in, but
Yeah.
as far as the layout goes, I think, I get the impression anyway, we're happy with that. But now it needs to be put down to the 1/8 inch and everything else, and HVAC, and floor coverings and fire codes and all that needs to be addressed at this point, if we're happy with the layout. Again, that doesn't mean who occupies it, it's just,
Yeah.
I think it serves a lot of different purposes at that point.
Yeah, if I could have, sorry, Tim, if I could have just a couple more days to review that document, and then because I may have a couple questions on some of that layout thing, but after that, I wouldn't have any issues with going out for a couple firms for.
Well, even if we pick a firm and we're not settled or we'll make changes, we're still at that point.
And I still don't know what firms, besides that one that came in and presented to us, that kind of specialize in courthouses. I'm not sure off the top of my head who would.
Oh, yeah, that's
You're talking about the historical?
Yeah, or like, they done some renovations
we
in
could possibly
courthouses.
have 3 things at one time, the theater, the annex, and what would be the third? I guess there's only 2 things there. Yeah, there's the Arteria, or how do you say that, and RQAW is another firm.
Yeah.
Outside, they didn't sign our master services agreement yet, anyway. I don't know, does HWC, do they do that type of work? I don't know if they do or
I
not.
don't know.
Did we get $100,000 approved for that, or 125 in the budget? We get some money.
I thought it was like 86,000 or something.
Okay, I knew there was something amount, I didn't know how much it was.
That was what I think requested, was around 86. I don't know what was actually finally approved. I have to go back and,
On that subject, the new sign is up at the courthouse annex over there, it looks pretty sharp.
I've heard some comments from it. I haven't seen it yet. It's been dark every time I've
It's
seen
got,
it.
it's got the corn on it.
Does it have the corn on it? I've had a couple good compliments. Yep.
but if you decide, I'd like to get them scheduled too.
Okay.
And again, the layout can change. The architect may change it. He may say
Okay.
you need to have 4.5
Then
feet instead of 4.
Yeah, then I'm not opposed looking at some architects if you guys want. I mean, I'm gonna throw out some names. I just don't know.
I don't have a preference myself, so.
I don't either.
I will pick some and send them to you, and you say yea or nay, but we need to keep it 3 or less.
Okay.
We can pick one if we want, but.
But it would've had
If you have a
just do-
special
well-
architect.
I don't.
Of course, what's going on inside the building, you probably need someone else. I mean, we're dealing with 2 different things. we're dealing with some changes within the courthouse too, right?
It may depend on how that domino effect comes across. Yeah, that would be correct, yeah.
That's a whole different situation,
That,
isn't it?
we have to pick occupancy of who's gonna move where at that point, and then that does potentially start to roll over here, and that also takes those records into effect, because we can start moving these records out, and that way, and the timing of those records, of getting them, put into data or electronic formats and all. It all rolls together, it's a dance. You get to dance with more than one person too.
So you'll send us a couple
I
names?
will, yeah, I'll give them to you this week, and you guys can chime in as to any preferences.
Okay. County engineer done
Would
that.
you want to do the architects and interviews at the same time as the records handling? I don't know how much time you want to take, because it'll probably take a half hour, 45 minutes per.
I could do all of them in one day, if you're only talking max, 45 minutes.
Just have to
However long we want to take. but
limit our
if
time.
we-
We have to limit our time to keep on schedule.
Sure, but we want to roll it along. I'll try to get them all together if we can.
That's
We may
fine.
not be able to schedule that way, but we try.
Yeah, that'd be best bet. Okay, the county engineer status, I have no change. I know Brett don't have no change on that either, so it's still in the process of being looked at.
Still discussion.
Do what?
Still discussing.
Yeah, that's what I see. Come down to the 2023 ambulance contract. Brett, you got an update on that, what you have?
Yeah, come to an agreement with Ileana, and I forwarded, or John finalized the agreement there. And I would make him, do we have it? And, yeah, there it is. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 2022 amendment to the ambulance service contract by title.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion, go ahead.
Discussion,
Go ahead.
thank you. I would like to add, I don't know who put some of these A through D things on there, whether it was John or Britton or who, but these are well deserved, and I do think this will help with some of the issues that we have had. Just so the public is aware, in this new agreement, under section 7A, it'll say determine at the start of each shift whether the correct number of staffing level of ambulance have come on duty. B, identify instances where during a shift Ileana falls below the correct number of staffing level. C, if the correct number of staffing level ambulances is not being met, to gather information on why the situation occurred and what is done to correct it. So these are just some of the things that have been added on to the contract that I think is very prudent of the commissioners, and I commend John and Britton for getting this contract, or this amendment to the ambulance contract put together. So thank you guys for doing that.
Brett's done a lot of work on that, and also John, like you said. So the difference is now that we're only going to have two, right?
Yes.
And if that comes up, they have to go back to the council to,
There's
if the band is there or something comes up, then we just
Yeah.
have to address it. But that's the budget they gave us.
The budget was cut for 2023 down to
It
$563,000.
didn't print. You're looking for the, she's got it. It didn't print that back page.
I was going to say, this didn't look like all of it. Does everybody else have this?
No,
Did,
just Cheyenne. She's fine.
Was it on the email?
Yeah, it
or-
was on the email.
Yeah, okay, I read the one John
It
forwarded.
just didn't print.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because I was going to say, this isn't it,
Yeah.
all of it,
Yeah.
That second, for some reason, that second page didn't print.
Okay.
There's a printing error. That's the one you guys will sign.
John, you have any comment about?
No, I took what Britton had wrote up, I made a few changes, the section RJ talked about, I fleshed out and put it in outline form, and
Good.
that's it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
That's one we'll get signed.
Big change. What?
You guys gotta vote.
Do you have more discussion?
I don't have any more, that's all. I just wanted to outline that for the public, to let them know that we have some things in writing now to do that, so thank you guys.
Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The county bid award, we have still researching some of that to get that paperwork lined out. That's gonna have to be put off till the next meeting. Theater grant assistance, I think the gentleman was up at the conference. When did you have a chance to talk to him any, or did he say anything?
Yeah, he said hi to me. Is that company? I can't pronounce it right.
Yeah.
Acura or yeah, I don't know, something. No, I think they still want to kind of help us, and they said they had spoke to Christy Jarrow about some of the grant assistance. So we briefly spoke for a few minutes. I'm not sure where that's at now, but
Okay.
I think they kind of threw it back at us. The email was kind of, I don't know, not descriptive well.
yeah, it was kind of a little open-ended a little bit.
Are you guys wanting to meet with, Gerald's was suggesting that we meet with a group and decide if this thing needs to go forward or not. I don't know that we have any monies allocated. I don't think we do at this point.
There's historical grants available, but usually historical grants are about 50%, 50.
Oh, that's what I mean. I don't know that we would proceed without a grant. And
Yeah.
I don't know that we had the match for a grant even at this point.
That's the whole thing with anything, with any funding, anything we do, if we can get the majority of it funded, it makes it much easier.
Oh, I think we don't do anything unless we get it, or at least,
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to, but not in this situation.
I just don't know how much we're talking for a potential grant for that theater. Would you guys have any idea?
They ought to be able, the engineer ought to come up with some type of cost. I mean, that's the way you get them.
are you talking to me?
No, I'm just saying.
No, I
wasn't
think it was
talking to
me.
him
I
as an
mean, like the
engineer.
actual company.
I wasn't talking to him as an engineer, I was just talking to him about that's, if we're dealing with this company, why can't we just, they're gonna have to
The
come up.
question, do we want to meet with them though? Or do
I'll
you
meet
wanna-
with them anytime you
Yeah,
want.
that's
You
fine.
want to do it all on that same day? If we're gonna-
Let's just start at 8 and move on. Just go through the whole day. We're going to an executive
pizza.
and a work session. We'll just have them all day.
I'll see if they can have some time. and
But we need to all
I'll
get
throw-
together on that.
Yeah, do like a work session with Christy and we could do something to talk to him and see how much we would need or what they think.
Okay. I'm not sure I'm keeping up on my notes here.
Status of NOFA bridge funding application, Bridge 32, County Road.
Yeah, we've got a meeting, what time is that, Cheyenne? January something.
January 3rd or 4th, and we have to pick a time.
Yeah, January 3rd. Have you picked a time or were you
No,
waiting?
I was waiting to hear from you to see what worked best
Okay.
for you.
We have an interview for the bridge application, similar to what you did
We
with
gotta select
County Road 2, or Bridge 200.
So we gotta select an engineer for that.
I think it would be best to have, if possible, Clark Dees, if Kevin Moselle could accommodate that meeting as well. You're the one that's done most of the work on that. Bridge 32 application, will you be available on the 3rd?
I'm not sure if, in that,
I don't think he can come to that if he's gonna be
yeah, I think.
possibly bidding on
We're
it.
supposed to be, we're not under contract, I'm not sure we're supposed to be coming.
Am I getting confused? I thought we were under contract already on that. I thought that was part of that process.
As far as the application process,
I thought we stepped past that process and went into the selection process.
well, not that yet. In that proves.
You wanna come up here to the mic? I hate to say that, but we need you up here.
Am I thinking of a different bridge project?
You're talking about the one we just submitted the application for Bridge 32?
Well, that's what I thought I was talking about, but
Yeah.
I thought we'd already gone to the selection process for engineering.
No, that's usually after you get your approved funding.
Well, we just did on one bridge. What is it? Which bridge was it?
37.
Okay.
Yeah, because Bridge 37, what is that, like a 2027 project or 20?
The fiscal year 2027, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
this Bridge 32 is fiscal year 2028.
Yeah, because that was one of them you guys just recommended a few months ago
Right.
for federal funding. Yeah.
I've got the bridge numbers mixed up then.
Okay,
Sorry.
no problem. Too many of them to keep track.
There's a lot of bridges.
Somebody's got to keep it straight.
The And that's the bridge you have there west of,
Eli Lil, or Lanco.
you know, and
on
How-
Norton
what
Creek,
was the total of
County Road
that?
200 Norton Creek.
what was the total of that job?
Do you
know?
remember, Kevin?
Total estimated construction costs? think
I don't remember.
Total cost with all the engineering and construction inspection, I think it's 1.8 million,
Okay.
And then you got 80, is that 80% funded,
80/20, yeah.
80/20? That's what we're trying to do, look out in these bridges, these are humongous costs, and before, the county waited till they blew up and then had to go and spend their money doing it, and we're trying to get ahead of it and try to get these bridges out in a replacement schedule, so instead of paying 100%, we're only paying 20%. And that's a very good plan, and it has never been implemented. We've started doing that, and it's turned out really good. Status of the LTAP Assessment Management Plan approval, I think we've got that done.
Yeah, that was
You guys, ladies helped a lot on that too.
Cheyenne and Melissa and
Yeah.
you said Brenda, there's a lot of effort there between people getting all
Yeah,
that.
thank you to all of you
application
guys.
together.
That was a late night project too, or late 48 hours or 24 hours or however that deal was.
Under sickness.
Yeah, under sickness and everything. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that is
Thank
part
you.
of the Vermillion County, maybe that needs to be part of the work when you sign up for Vermillion County, right?
Married to it, yeah. Anyway, the LTAP asset management plan was approved, and then also on top of that, the bridge asset management plan, I think, has been approved as well, right? Okay. Both of those plans. And thank you for Clark Deeds for your assistance on that as well.
The county HSA contribution, you want to talk about that? Put you on the spot in the end, identify yourself.
Get to work on your public speaking.
Leanne Smith, Human Resources. I'm coming before you tonight to ask about the annual HSA employer donation of $1,000 for each employee that is in an HSA plan.
That's the same as it was last year.
Exact same thing, yes.
And it's quarterly, right?
It is paid quarterly, yes.
And we talk about, or at least I had a question about Leon, because there was some questions about some employees, wanting that all at once. And you guys had talked about it was better to do quarterly.
It's better to do quarterly if someone leaves.
Mm-hmm.
You've paid them $500.
Yep.
There's no way to get that $500 back.
And then we talked about maybe USI coming in to talk to, maybe doing like an employee day or
Yes,
something.
I've talked with them.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we are going to be meeting with them on the 15th of this month. So again, I will reach out to
That's
Brandon and see what we can do with
Yeah,
having
just to
some
kind of help
meetings.
like some education and stuff, because I do know it's tough for some people, but if we can help them,
Right.
save some of that, if they're relying on that $1,000 and it takes, all year to
Right.
get
And
that.
also for 2023, the contributions that you can make besides the $1,000 will go up. For an individual, they're going to go to $3,850. For a family of $7,750. And of course, if you're over the age of 55, you can do the catch-up of $1,000.
That's not really easy.
55.
55. Well, I make a motion that we go with the recommendation of HR for a $1,000 contribution from the county for the HSA program.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you.
You do a good job.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We got an announcement for the second round of Community Crossing Grant. We just got that notification here this evening. I believe it's $361,000.
There you go. Nope, I lied. It's going to be the last page. Because there's like 10 pages here. It's the last
Yeah.
one.
I have a note here that has everything combined. I want to read it, what I have here. Each year we apply for community crossing grants for our roads. This year we applied for a bridge, and Britton put a lot of time into getting this done. And Melissa, are you sure that that funding was for that bridge?
The funding amount announced on the NDOT webpage exactly matches the funding request for Bridge 90 at the amount of $351,979.21.
Okay.
So since it matches exactly,
Yeah,
I'm
probably.
making the assumption that it's for that bridge.
Because what it is, the bridge there, and I know RJ inherited when he got elected, but it's been a long thing, and we're all trying to figure out some way that we didn't, and not paying the $400,000 out of the, we could have got it probably out of the general fund, but we're trying to figure out, each time we do this, how do we save money, and how do we get creative in what we're doing to save money? And Britt's worked real hard on it, and put it in, and I appreciate what he did to get that, and lo and behold, tonight, if I'm not mistaken, Britt, is this the actual, and the quote came in today for that bridge. We got the money today, and we got the,
Then,
so we're gonna find
Yeah.
out here in a few minutes how it comes out compared to
Yeah.
price-wise, but it's definitely saved $300-some thousand. So
350,
that's,
yeah.
that's-
Yeah, I would just like to say thanks to, Britton, Melissa, Clark Deach, whoever did this, because I know in the beginning that the state had indicated since we owned the bridge, they weren't gonna fund it. So I don't know who, strong-armed them or, wrote a very persuasive letter, but I do thank you to whoever did that, because I know the citizens on River Road or 1450 North will be very satisfied, because they were getting a little stressed if that bridge ever failed up there with no way out. So I really appreciate everyone's work on that, so thank you.
Good deal. So, you okay to go ahead and open this for this bid?
Mhm.
Where's that clear? This is for White's Construction.
We only received one bid on the project. The estimate, the engineer's estimate on this is $491,308.
$191,000.
That's the engineer's estimate. It's not what the bid,
No,
we'll see what
no.
the bid is.
Maybe the bid will come in under the engineered estimate.
By
We'll find out.
By 100,000 maybe?
Put on some glasses and make sure I see this right. Have another person read it also, just to make sure.
We had one bid from White Construction.
Trying to figure out where it's at. Which way does it go? Maybe that's the back. Okay, bid from White's Construction, Clinton, Indiana, for Berrien County Highway Department. Proposal.
Everybody's holding their breath.
Nobody's breathing.
You wanna look at that? I'll let him look, he knows more about the legality of making sure everything's right.
Should have put like a little red sticker in there where the bid, usually they put like a little line on there where their number's at.
It says a total, $430,000.
You finally got over the minimum bid there, didn't you, Kevin?
So,
430 was the total?
yeah, you want to,
So that difference we're
I
going
want him to look at this, he's the more official guy
Yeah.
than I am.
between the community crossings and this.
So, let's get back to this, so, we got 365, and that, with the 25%, well, that will get it then, won't it?
469,000. With the
So-
25%, you have 469,000.
That's what I'm saying,
We're within
we got it covered
the
then.
bid.
Yeah.
I suggest that we take it under, we accept we have the proposal from White Construction, but I expect that we should take it under advisement and review the bid for its entirety and completeness, and then look at and approve it at our next meeting if it's acceptable still.
Is it a time factor here with the weather way it is, that we need to get on this as quick as possible?
That's why we did it now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The reason why we bid it at this time is because we want to make sure that we get in when all the other bids are going in, so that we're not struck out in left field on going into January, February, where everybody already knows what they're doing. So we got our bids now, and we will, when we let it, they have a time frame. What do we give until June to start to work?
I don't recall, I think it was like 90 days.
Completion in 90 days, and it had to be completed by August 31st.
August.
Yeah,
Okay.
so basically they can start the project when they want, but it has to start by June or it has to be completed by August 31st. They have 90 days once they start to complete it though.
So we'll take this under advisement, review it, and then bring it back up at the next meeting?
And that's my recommendation.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Take it under
That's good news.
Yep. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Britton, and everybody else. It's a big deal.
Thank you.
Do you have this to do, Tim?
As I said before, the new signs out here for the annex did a good job. I am wanting to maybe see what you all think. We have, on this money, we have funding tied up, obligated to joint, and I haven't heard anything back from them. And I'd like for us to send a letter to them to get some type of answer, either they are or not.
Yeah, I think, now that you say that, Tim, I sent an email to Timothy, is it McComb maybe? And he did say something that the state just authorized something last week. I'll see if I can find it and forward it to you guys. Because I said we hadn't heard anything for months now. And citizens were getting a little antsy that we, put up that money and we hadn't heard anything.
We're getting antsy.
Yeah, everybody is. Let's see if I can find this drink.
Okay. I'll cover something else while you're looking it up. You want to forward that whenever you get it. Next meeting, I will be bringing a letter for approval for the commissioners of support for the matching money for the Cayuga project. To show that we'll support with the matching money. We will try to get the funding for it.
Talking about the stormwater drainage?
Yes. And I think that's money that we should be able to get. The big thing about getting the ARP money, right, is that what we call it, ARP money? Am I correct? What, about $3.1 million. We have roughly $680 or $675 obligated to joint so far, so we have the rest of the remainder of the money. The big thing I'd like to see with those funds is how we can take and, instead of buying, and have it so that we try to get at least a 75% on 25% money. Take the $3 million and make $9 million, or, you know what I'm saying, use it for the 20% match on things. So that's one of the requests I'll be bringing up. I'll have a letter, have it drawn up. Also, 2 weeks ago, I made a trip to Danville, Illinois with Doug Hess. I talked to them about develop some relationships with Danville, Illinois. Danville, Illinois' property does butt right up against the Romaine County line. So it was a very good meeting. And we'll keep you informed of some future advancement in that direction. Melissa, you want to come up here and talk about what you have?
When I find that, I'll forward that to you guys. I can't find that right now. I have no idea where it's at.
You read it. What is that? Melissa.
The grant writing contracts.
First, I want to say I appreciate Melissa Weibel, what she's done. We've come a long way with the Community Crossing Grant. I remember the first year we did it, we all got together and measured roads, and everybody worked together to make it happen. We didn't have no engineer do it. We didn't have nobody involved in this. Everybody piled in and measured the roads and got it all done, and I still remember it. She didn't get paid for it. And one day someone told me, said, "What'd she ever get?" I said, "Nothing." They said, "Well, I'll buy her a new computer," and that's what she got for writing the first $1 million grant. She got a computer, and she's been a tremendous asset. I think Brenda and everyone here realizes what she's done and been a big help to our county and made millions of dollars help, millions of dollars.
And that computer is still running strong.
So, you have a...
Yes, my name is Melissa Weibel, and as Tim said, I've been working on the Community Crossings grant. I sent in the two different possibilities for employment for the 2023 call for NDOT Community Crossings grant. The one is specific only to the Community Crossings grant, and that's the one that is titled Contract for Grant Writing Services, and it lists the scope of services and the amount that I was asking for compensation. The other alternative is hire me as an employee and put me on a salary basis. And under that proposal, what my intention was to make it possible for me as an employee to have access, legitimate access to the NDOT site to work directly on the Community Crossings grant instead of having to work on the grant and then work with one of the employees as Cheyenne did this year. included in that is if I was hired as an employee, any grant that comes up, whether it's recycling or shifting records to electronic format, I would be available to help with those grants. And whatever decision is made between you all and Human Resources and the council and me, whatever amount of time is agreed to is what I'd have available to spend. And, excuse me, and I'm suggesting that be as salary so that there's no such thing for me as overtime. It would be comp time. If I have to work on the Community Crossings grant in January and spend 90 hours on it, well then in a month when there's not a grant to work on, I just take that time as comp time. So to me, it would benefit the county. I could also be available as an employee to help coordinate deadlines for things and projects that are going on that affect the grants. They're not directly related to the grants necessarily, but that affect the grants. Most recently, for example, getting the asset management plan turned in and approved so that you can apply for the Community Crossings grant. So that's why I wrote the two different suggestions for employment, one as a contract labor, which is what you've had me doing in the past, and the other as a salaried employee for the county. So. And I'm happy to answer any questions or...
You got your copy of what you had?
Mm-hmm.
You want to read it out loud, or what you want
I
to talk
can
about,
if you'd
or
like.
What you guys want to talk about?
I don't have any. What's that? I don't have any objection to the the contract for services we've always done. The other one I think is just take a little bit more work. Depending on the cost, the council. We talked about an IT position. The council pretty much shelved that pretty quick. So I think it just depends if the council would fund a full-time or part-time position for the grant writer. How much they're willing to fund towards it.
Well, and we also talked about doing it as like a seasonal employee, like they do with the Parks Department.
And see, that's a potential.
another option.
So I wouldn't.
Get her considered to be full-time, but yet
The part-time.
the hours aren't.
Yeah.
set,
I wouldn't be opposed to that either if you guys want to think about it further until the next meeting or.
Obviously, under the employee status, it would be necessary for you to discuss and come up with something that would work for the
Yeah.
county and work with the council.
Yeah.
Because as a contract employee, you're paying me out of the highway department money.
So that's the whole issue we have. The issue is not really with your employment. The issue is getting you to a place where you can be at the ERC. Is that right?
Right.
And it's not a very easy job. I know.
Well, can the ERC
I know
be-
she likes it.
Employee in
much.
charge.
Can that be? Will she have access?
The only way she can be it is
Yeah.
to be considered a full-time employee.
So
of the
our
county.
big thing is how
Not a contract
do we
employee.
get that classification for her and make it work for the county? Because she can't enter into stuff that needs to be entered in unless she does it.
But as a seasonal employee, only employed for the month of January at full time, I would have full access.
We need confirmation some way on that from
Right.
legal and also, that's a big question. What can we do so you can work and be accessible at the ERC?
Right. Now, the other thing, this is very timely because the call doesn't open until the first week of January, but there's a lot of work to be done, and 30 days to do it is not really sufficient. But if you approve some type of employment, whether if you want to start out right now under contractual and have me employed for the month of December so I can start with John Lawson and Colby and all them, and then come January, if Leanne and John and you figure out something different, I'm not opposed to renegotiating that.
Well, I think you ought to continue to, if we have deadlines we're trying to make, you need to start.
I would agree that the contractual contract needs to be continued, or we need to approve it again, because there is work that needs done this month, and you definitely paid for your services, so I would be in agreement with that. I don't know if anybody else is.
I wanted council to approve it last time, or in the budget hearings, we need a grant writer, if you will.
Yeah.
And I would prefer a
Well,
full-time grant writer.
Yeah.
So-
With her experience of doing it, I mean, you bring someone else to try to do that stuff all new, it'd be fun, wouldn't it?
And we need to probably go back and plead with the council to
Yeah.
fund this position a year round. There's more,
Yeah.
this is such
tip of the
a
iceberg.
well, it's such a minor dollar amount compared to the grants that we receive and the effort that has to go into these. Either we're paying a employee or we're and get a benefit of another ERC, or we're paying a consultant who can't be our ERC.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense to me to pay more for something that we can't
Yeah, benefit
have.
from.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
And the one thing I'd like to point out, which I think you're all very well aware of, but I don't know if the public is, as a grant writer, what I charge the county is a fourth what I charge an individual to write a grant. If someone comes to me and says, I have a nonprofit and I'd like you to write a grant, will you do it for me? Well, sure. For the Humane Shelter, for the fire department, for the police department, it's free. For the county, it's one charge, and for someone who's an individual, so it's not a set scale that I write. And a full-time grant writer for the county would be fantastic, but that position, I mean, Christy Gerald, for example, is a very good grant administrator, and she would be great in that kind of position if she were interested, but it would be extremely expensive. And I'm just saying that under this, if it could work out for you guys, it would work out great for me. And part of what I do is I do it because this is my county and I care about it.
Well, I think you hit on one topic that's overshadowed sometimes, is that it doesn't start with just writing a grant. There's the administration of the grants. And we've had a couple of entities in the county that have gotten in trouble because they didn't administer their grants and got basically blackballed from getting further grants.
Mhm.
And it's cost us a pretty penny to get them back into good graces. So it's I hate to say a no-brainer.
I think that is what we're all in favor of to continue. We got deadlines to meet them.
And then, so as far as go back with the contractual, as a contract
As
employee,
now.
and
Yes.
for
We'll
the
have to
month of
work-
December, but come January, whoever's going to be the employee in charge has to be available to enter the grant, because the deadline is the end of January to enter the grant for 2023.
That gives us the rest of December to try to
Sure.
work through some of the details of potentially seasonal, or maybe even like Britton said, go back and look at a complete full-time grant writer. So it gives us some time to look at that.
And I want to apologize for being so casual, but I sprained my ankle, so I'm leaning heavily on the podium. So.
You didn't pull up the horse again, did you?
No, it wasn't the horse this time. It was the sidewalk.
Who's going to champion this? I've got enough on my plate right now.
I can do the grant. I can do the grant thing. I can ask Brenda or whoever about the ERC and the seasonal thing. If they want to give me some details, I can reach out to the council members, at least the ones that are left, and then reach out to the new ones that'll be there in January.
And I'll be happy to meet with them if they want to discuss anything
Okay.
about it. I mean, I
Sure.
can come into a council meeting if they want me to.
I'll put something together and then I'll share it with you guys before I proceed. So.
Okay. Again, congratulations on another one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Been very successful grants. Yeah. We've made tremendous
And
improvements
thank
in
you,
our
Cheyenne,
county.
too. You lived through it.
Yeah, several that went involved in it. Okay, I'm gonna ask if you guys got anything, and I'm gonna open up for public.
No, I don't.
You got anything, John? No. Anything, RJ?
Nope. Don't believe so.
Public discussion, if you've got something to say, please come up and say your name. And
I got something to say you guys might actually want to hear.
Well, good.
Heck yeah.
Good news is always good news.
John Moore, Vermillion County Redevelopment Commission. As you all are aware, last spring I came to you and asked you for a little bit of help cleaning up a couple of properties in Blandford. About a month or so ago, Mr. Luther got a hold of me and told me that to get in touch with his garage, District 1. So, the last 2 weeks, they've been out there, they cleared all the brush off of the corner lot, and now we're pretty sure there's... Yesterday, they finished cleaning up the other lot as far as we got all the underbrush taken off of it, so we actually know what it sort of looks like. They did a really good job. Mike was really good about keeping me informed. I went out and helped them a couple of days. I ruined a chain on my chainsaw, but they did the majority of the work, and it went really well. I'm really pleased with it, and the nice thing about this, I've had 2 inquiries now for that one project.
That's what
So,
they got. Wow.
Good. Where's that property located? Somewhere over Blanford area or?
Yeah, both of them they're
Right next to each other.
within 1,000 yards of each other.
Good. And they'll be up for sale when you get them cleaned up, or is that the?
Well, see, we tried to sell the one before and put it out and nobody bid on it. So I had an inquiry from somebody up here and it was all the undergrowth and stuff. But one of the things that did happen too, we found the water meter pit. So there is water there if somebody would want to build. But the way I understand it, the lot behind that, the person that's going to end up with that is interested in buying this lot in front of it, so they'd have the whole from 163 back to the other end. So, but there's another guy next door who, when I started cleaning it up, he came and said, well, hey, I wouldn't mind buying this, so.
Bidding war, eh?
Well, it's not really a bidding war because the topography's terrible. Whoever tore the house down that's all they did was tear the house down. It's got a lot of grading, but, you know, just to get the brush out so they can see what it is, and we've got it staked fairly close. I mean, it's not exact, but it's close enough that you can see the 100 foot by 133.
John,
Anyway,
would you be able to?
thank you, and I thank the county highway guys. They did a good job.
Would you be able to share some pictures of what it looked like before and after they helped get all that brush cut?
I have before pictures, and I'll go out there and take some after.
I just like to see the difference of it, especially if people's already hitting you up again. You know.
I'll bring them next meeting.
Awesome, thank you.
Oh, you guys wait. You guys meet at 8:15 next time.
We can change that to 9
Us
o'clock.
retirees kind of
I
sleep.
know, I agree with you. Well, you should bring that up next meeting.
But I will bring you pictures because it is impressive.
Good.
Cool, thank you.
Anybody else got any public comment? We'll close this meeting. Anybody?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second the motion.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for attending.
John, what do you got for me to